the thing about human nature that I find is pretty interesting actually is that our egos are too big. All right. Um, our egos are getting in the way of who we are as a human being. What do I mean by that? Well, guys, what I mean by that is that when we were born, okay, we were given a name, right? We have a gender, obviously. We were given an identity. So a name, a social security number. But here's the thing. Every human being who has a name, an identity, you know, a gender, a self proclaimed, who they are. Like I am a brother, I am a son, I am a friend, right? Or something. That's the ego. That's us trying to latch on to where we think we belong. But here's the thing, what if I told you that we're all the same person, but we're all in the same, we are all the same. We're all in the same system because this 3D realm, the 3D world, okay, that we can see, touch, hear, smell, it it's a byproduct of what comes in the afterlife. What do I mean by that? This 3D world, like I'm right now, I'm sitting in front of a tree, right? This tree behind me, it has a life. It's living like me and you. But this tree, it's going to die eventually, just like me and you, okay? And when the tree dies, since it's a living thing, but when it dies, it's going to decompose and probably sprout more trees eventually. Okay, thousands of years from now. When you and I die, we enter into an afterlife where we get a second chance, we get to go again, we get to come back to the 3D world, or we enter into the 5D realm where the 3D world was just a thing of the past. Now, it's important to remember that you cannot get attached to this 3D world. Here's why. When I look around and I observe how people, they tie their worth to what they do for a living, or how many kids they had, or the family they built, or uh, you know what what kind of status they have right now in society. But little do they know that we're on borrowed time. So when we pass away, then we're going to we're either going to come back, reincarnate karmically because of things that we didn't things that we didn't do that we should have done. So what's going to happen is God's going to put us back here, and then he's going to say you have to do it over again now. You got to, you got to be part of this theater again, this dress rehearsal again, because you didn't do it right the first time. Or well, what's going to happen is when you die, God's going to say, all right, well, you can enter to the next realm, the 5D realm, which is the spiritual world. And I don't call it heaven. What I call it instead is just it's beyond my comprehension right now, guys, okay? I can't sit here and say there is no heaven or there is. But all I know is that there is another world, spiritual world beyond this one. Okay, I'm 100% sure. And that world, it has yet to present its purpose. that 5D world that I am waiting on, that I am anticipating to see, to experience one day, I have yet to find out what the purpose is for that world. All I know is that there, I don't know if there is or isn't a heaven necessarily, but there is definitely another a spiritual realm. That's all I know. That's all that's, that's the only insight that that the universe has been given me. All right, they're not giving me, the universe isn't giving me anything beyond that. And now when it comes to religion, what religion teaches, there's a lot of religious people out there. I used to be religious myself. I used to take it seriously. I don't anymore, because I figured out that religion is pretty much a distraction. Religion is a distraction. It's a trick. And I want to tread lightly here. I don't want to offend anybody by saying that, but I found out that through my own experience, through my own learning, that religion is it's not sustainable. All right. Of course, yeah. There are certain figures in religion that religion teaches, like Jesus and the prophets. Those people were real. They existed. They had a purpose. And I respect and hold those people in very high regard. Okay, those figures. Okay, especially Jesus. But the thing here, and the apostles too, I gotta add. But the thing here is that when religion came along, what they did is they created this club. All right. I don't really know another word for it, but I'll just say they created this. I don't want to say cult, but I'll just say club, cult-like environment. That you got to, go to these programs to be part of it. You got to become educated, and then you got the different phases of initiation, and if they got all these rigid rules and guidelines where if you break them, you're pretty much kicked out, or you're condemned, you're labeled. The thing is that we're all sinners. We're not perfect, right? That's how the universe wants us to be, is just be human. So the problem with these religions is not only did they create these cult-like clubs, but that are exclusive, even though they claim to be inclusive. They are actually very exclusive and very rigid, okay? And I'm not trying to bash religious groups right now. I'm just giving the generic what I have figured out over the years. And they do more harm than good. See, people don't realize that being part of a religion does not automatically save you. Being part of a religion does not automatically justify your existence. And so many people make that mistake. They're part of a religious group, a religious affiliation. They partake in the festivities. They partake in the whole grandeur of being affiliated or having a religious identity. They get lost in this religious identity. They don't know who they are. They forget what they're here to do. They tie their identity to all these falsehoods, and so that's my take on religious groups and religious affiliation, for just as a whole. You drive by these churches, for example, and you'll see signs that say, join us for worship. All are invited. All are welcome. Well, the thing is that if you get in there and they sense that you're different, or they sense something's off about you, or you do fit in, you make friends with the crowd, you meet the minister, you meet the pastor, you meet the reverend, whoever it is leading it, the higher ups, right? The second that they find out you have your own way of thinking, they look at each other and ask themselves, well, why are you here? And you won't be welcome there anymore, because what they want is they want sheep. They want people to follow. They want people to pay, right? Monetary money too. It's a business, right? Well, I'm not asking, I'm telling you, it's a business. And that's another problem I have with the accepting of these religious affiliations. People who tie their worth to this is that they have no idea that they're just part of a business. They're the cogs. They're the gears in a wheel, And I don't. What's the most when I started this video, okay? What I was trying to get at is that what hurts the most to witness, all right, in this 3D world right now, in this the life that we've been given, is that so many people settle without realizing that settling is the greatest danger, okay? That's the whole point of this video. Settling is the greatest danger that you can do. You always want to be on the move, all right? Maybe not physically, but you always want to be on the move spiritually. You always want to be on the move intellectually. You always want to keep learning and growing. The version you are today is not the version you're going to be tomorrow, all right? The version that there is no such thing as reaching your highest potential. Yeah, you can enter into a state of becoming your higher self, but even when you become that higher self, all right, you're gonna find out that there's still more you should learn. There's still more you're gonna learn, even if you don't want to learn. It's just gonna happen to you, all right? That's what's happened to me. When you enter into a state of, okay, I think I've reached I've capped out on what I can, I've capped out on, I haven't reached this point yet, because I still understand I have much, much more to learn. But as I'm taught by, experience and by the universe and by my insight, but there are people out there who have believe that they have reached the highest form of what they can learn, and they've settled for what they've decided that they're going to settle for the lessons that they have acquired, what they've learned is the end all be all. But that can be very dangerous, because what these people are going to find out is that I find this to be very true for people who lead, they're very learned people, or they lead, it could be anything really, a group, a religious group, it could be a professional who, at the top, like a CEO, or, it can even be a parent, right? There's nothing more that upsets me than an arrogant parent who thinks they know everything, all right? Yeah, they know more than, say, somebody my age, right? But they certainly do not know everything, and that's the greatest danger, I think, is that people settle for what they think they know, right? They graduated the learning process. No, the learning process you'll never graduate from. If I have a breakthrough, which I've had breakthroughs in the past, but let's say I have another breakthrough, okay, in the future. And when I've had breakthroughs before, I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm like, wow, I think I finally figured it out. But then later down the road, I have another breakthrough that lets me know that the first, what I figured out before was just it was a sneak peek of what I was going to figure out later. And I've learned as I've gotten older that it's humbling to where I'll go through these phases of where I'm a humble person, okay? I think, and I'm open to learning. I know I'm not perfect. I have much more to learn. Then I have a breakthrough, or I figure something out big. And I think that, okay, well, I was being too humble because why did it take me that long to get a breakthrough? But then after I tell myself that, I'm like, oh, wait, I had that breakthrough because I was accepting that I don't know everything. So as soon as when I was humble and I had a breakthrough, well, I have to keep being in a state of in a receptive state so that I can be open to more concepts I need to learn. And a lot of people, uh, it's kind of unfortunate to say that a lot of people, you know, I don't think they quite figured that out yet, where they think that once this has less, I guess I'm changing the subject to more of a not spiritual right now at this point, but I've seen people, as an example here, I've seen people who have, college, really high college degrees and accolades and stuff, and they just think that's it. Like they learned everything and they're good. Now they have the authority to teach and to to tell people what's what, all right? And if you don't listen to them, then essentially you're foolish, right? That's what I found. This is the attitude of these people, or certain people that I've researched, and that I've 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 researched some of the work these people have done or these people put out, and I just I'm thinking like, well, if they claim to be that wise and that learned, then why is it that they think that, you know, why is it that they think that everyone else is below them? That's not the point of becoming a master. The point of becoming a master is to regard your student as having more potential than you, because the student is open to learning, is new. They're open to learning. They're receptive. They are they have a mind eager to grow, eager to learn. A master, they were like that at one point, but once they think they've learned everything and they know all there is to know, it begins to turn into ego. Okay. I would say arrogance, but again, I think that's kind of personal. I would have to know someone on a personal level to determine that, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to put labels on anybody, but ego is dangerous. And how many people do you know who have little? Having an ego is healthy, yes, you have to have some ego, but ego, just living by it and relying on it, coasting on your ego through life, is dangerous. And how many people do you know that they live by this ego, and they can't seem to let go of their image. They can't seem to let go of being perceived a certain way or being seen as perfect, or uh you know ego is basically the puppet master, right? You have the people who do those puppets, like the sticks and the string. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. um that's ego. Ego is basically pulling you by the strings and like moving you around, right? Because you have to maintain your image and whatnot. So this video, I know it's just a little longer today, but Never settle. Right when you think that you... Oh, it's a bird. Right when you think that you have reached your capping point, all right? Even if it's a trade or it's maybe it's something that you do for a living, or it can be even just anything. Like, say you volunteer and you think you're really, really good at it and you're the best volunteer there. That's great. Like, take pride in your work, but just know that when the second you start thinking that way, guys, you're settling, and you're not going to have a growth mindset anymore. Both in physically, right, with whatever you do in this world, but also spiritually. All right, the universe isn't going to want to teach you anymore because you haven't accepted that. Right, you haven't accepted that there's a plethora, there's worlds of things that you can experience and learn and question and put into practice or discard. Right, you gotta find out what you think. You gotta find out what works for you, and you can't just blindly trust everything. So never settle. All right, never try not to take anything in this world right now as the end all be all. We got a nice green pasture over there, and over here I think there's more. I'm a really nice place today. I really like it out here. But yeah, so never settle, guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you're open to learning what I have to talk about today. Okay. Support the channel. Like the video, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification. Thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. And until next time, I'll see you, and I'll see you later.